Laylaw was still hustling. Music was just a hobby. The mid-'80s were the peak of the era. Money was fast and it was big. Around that time, Laylaw and Ice Cube grew close, like big brother and little brother, a bond that would last for decades. For context, Cube and Jinx were about 5 years younger than Dre, Eazy, and Laylaw. Those ties expanded to when Dre left the Wrecking Crew and formed N.W.A. with Eazy, Cube, and Arabian Prince in late '86. By '88, after seeing Eazy make real money with JJ Fad and N.W.A.'s albums, Laylaw started taking music seriously. Still, he wasn't sure of his lane until Ruthless signed Michel'le. He ended up writing nearly 80% of her debut album released in '89.
Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, talk to us about that.
Laylaw was a great writer. He was an excellent writer. He had a fantastic pen. I think of all the guys that were writers in our era, Laylaw, Cube, and DOC was like the top three. Yeah.
Really? Up there with DOC and Cube, huh?
Yeah. Laylaw,
wow.
Laylaw wrote more R&B stuff though. You know, he also wrote California Love, but he was an R&B writer. You know, he wrote songs, not just raps. And that's what separated him from those two.
Okay. Now talk to us. I didn't get to, I guess I didn't clip the part about Dre being a pop locker. So that was not true.
Oh man, I ain't never seen Dre. Dre barely did the Wrecking Crew steps. I ain't never seen him pop lock. Okay. He barely stayed on step with the Wrecking Crew. Nah, he wasn't that pop lock. You know, and people always assume because you may be around hip hop early that you were a pop locker. Man, it called me a pop locker. And nothing wrong with pop locking. Nothing wrong. But I never was. I was always the one making things happen. I was not a pop locker. I was the one that made sure that we had platforms to get things done, whether it be a record label, a club, studio, concert, whatever. I was more of an executive, but I would also step on stage because that's where I like being.
All in all, you heard the whole thing yourself. What did you think? Anything else that stood out to you as being weird? I only clipped those parts where, you know, the last mention of World Class Wrecking Crew was.
I'm gonna give it if I had to I'd give it a B minus. It's not horrible. It's again, you know, for me, I know the tidbits. You know what I'm saying? And the average person don't know the tidbits. And you know, in fact, I had to say this. I'm gonna say this on this show right now. When I wrote my book, I had to apologize to Laylaw because the one section I had for him, I couldn't put in the book. I was already out of pages. At that time, Amazon only let you have like 315 pages. And I was already at damn near 400, and I had to cut a bunch of stuff out. And so Laylaw didn't make the cut. Laylaw didn't make the cut for Straight Outta Compton. But he told me, Lonzo, I don't give a damn. I got my check for California Love.
Which no one knew. Don't even think I technically knew this, that he is the one who officially produced California Love, but Dre's name got slapped on it after, as did a lot of production.
Yeah.
And we talked to Michel'le, and he alluded to the fact that maybe they were doing that so Dre didn't have to give that money to Eazy E back then. Do you think that could have been one of the reasons why his name was taken off a lot of stuff?
Dre's name, or what you mean?
Dre. Yeah. So wait, what do I mean? Actually, never mind. Scratch that. I had a brain. Yeah, scratch that. I got two different stories mixed up. Scratch that. But yes, California Love, Laylaw did produce that. I had no idea that happened.
Yep. He was an excellent producer. He was an excellent writer. In fact, one day I was riding down the street, never forget as long as I live. Laylaw was a big fan of Morris Day, just like I was. And I still am. And Morris had wrote a song that was Laylaw had wrote a song that was very similar to one of Morris Day's songs on this Color of Success album. Okay. And it was called Character. And we both liked the songs in my playlist right now. And I heard Character going down the street and I thought it was Laylaw's song. Because it was so much alike. Just a little tidbit, that's all.
Shout out to Laylaw, rest in peace, and thank you for your contribution to hip hop. Speaking of contributions and resting in peace, Lonzo, this week we lost a couple of people that I would love to hear your thoughts on. I saw you posted a picture with Gary Jellybean Johnson. who
Yeah,
was part of Prince's band and one of the lead architects for the Minneapolis sound. What can you tell us about him?
I met Jelly Bean this year in June. One of the companies I work with, they had they did a concert with Morris Day, and everybody else left except for Jelly Bean. And we had a little after party in the one of the ballrooms, and Jelly Bean came over and kicked it with us in the ballroom. He's a tall dude. I didn't know he was that tall till I stood next to him, and he was super cool. And hey man, we get a shot. Hey man, no problem. And we didn't have a chance to really talk, but just sometimes you get a good vibe from people, man. And he was one of them people I got a good vibe from.
What can you tell us about how different Prince's sound was, and mainly because a lot of the musicians that he worked with? What can you tell us about the Minneapolis sound?
Minneapolis sound, man, was like nobody else, dude. It was, it all depended on which group you were listening to. They all had a similar feel. It was very simple in some cases. Like all the time stuff is very simple. Okay, the cool, I mean, cool, everything. 777. But the most difficult parts of most of their songs was the drums. Okay, when the opening for the walk is one of the most difficult open drum solos. According to drummers, it's very difficult to do. And Jelly Bean did it with ease. When his Prince's spinoff groups like Jesse Johnson, they all had a certain vibe. They used Linn drums in the studio, and they also used a lot of Oberheim stuff back then, and it all had that same feel. Prince's music was probably some of the most intricate and difficult stuff to produce and play because he was so talented. I guess that's for no other word than that. I can't say lack of nothing for no other word. He put a lot more into his music, and he simplified Vanity Six. He simplified Morris Day and the Time, and even the stuff he did for Sheena Easton and some other artists was pretty straight ahead. And that was the sound. And think about this, man. That was the last sound we had. Artists of certain of the 80s, 70s, and 80s had their sound. Okay? They had their sound. Roger had a sound. Prince had a sound. Quincy Jones had a sound. Kashif had a sound. Motown had a sound. Philly had a sound. You could put on a Philly record and know it was a Philly record. You might not know the artist, but you know that Gamble and Huff did that song. You might not know, same thing with Down South. What was that label called? Dramatics were on them for a while. They were in the beginning. Damn, I can't think of it.
Talking about Cadillac?
No, not Cadillac Records.
Oh, no.
It was
Sunset, not Sunset. Let me think.
I can't think of it offhand right
keep
now.
talking. I'll look it up. What did you say? Who owned it?
Stax.
Oh, Stax.
Stax Records.
Of course.
Had a sound. Isaac Hayes had a sound. Barry White had a sound. These artists specialize in utilizing certain instruments to have a branding sound. That's the word I'm looking for, a branding sound. They all had a branding sound. You don't hear nobody even attempting to do the same things that they did back in the 80s and early 90s. It's not going to happen. You had to be a true musician. Some of Michael's bass lines were very difficult to play. Roger and Zapp used electronics. They blended electronics with the vocoder with guitar riffs, the whole 9 yards. Dance moves. They still dance their ass off right to this day. Barry White used cellos and oboes and all kind of other orchestra instruments to create his sound. Isaac Hayes had his own sound, had some of the instruments that Barry White had, but not all. But he used them in a different way. So, but again, you had a branding signature sound that gave everybody it was like having a team. Right now, there's no team. Even Dre got a sound. Quick has a sound.
Oh, you're right, Snoop. I mean, it falls into hip hop also. I'm thinking as you're talking, this also goes with hip hop. We haven't had an official sound in a long
They haven't
time
had
because
a
everybody
sound.
just copies everybody now in hip
Everybody
hop.
just copies everybody else, and it has no branding to it. It's just, all right, I'm the guy for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to get my 2 weeks of fame. You ain't get fit. You get more than 15 minutes these days, but that's a fleeting 15 minutes. That's it.
You got to show your ass for that 15 minutes, or you will get forgotten tomorrow.
Mama, okay. Talk about your mama.
Yeah.
Bad. You might get some notoriety. Go ahead, Doc.